So Dallas is this direction, downtown Dallas. We're in Oak Cliff section of Dallas, Texas. This is Jack Ruby's apartment, located in Oak Cliff, part of Dallas, Texas. I meet up with my friends once a year. Just got back. We spent some time in this building thinking it is Jack Ruby's apartment, but we have since learned that the original building has been torn down and this one's built in its place. Sad. I was excited to bring you the footage because we bribed the person here in the unit number 207. We bribed them to let us come in, look around.
Stop right there. I gotta know right now.
But why show it if it's not real? Let me tell you the story. By the way, we'll make a couple of famous graves visits as well, since this is a famous grave channel. All right. On November 24th, 1963, Jack Ruby is sound asleep in his apartment. That was on a Sunday when he receives a phone call from one of his employees. Her stage name was Little Lynn. Her real name is Karen Bennett. She calls Ruby, wakes him up. Hey Jack, I need some rent money. Ruby shut the club down on Friday the 22nd, which was payday that Friday, out of respect for President Kennedy. He tells Little Lynn that he'll go downtown to the Western Union and wire some money. So he slowly gets up and he goes downtown to the Western Union. So we'll head that direction and kind of give you a tour of downtown Dallas. Along the way, well, first I'd like to say that Ruby's apartment straight to the Western Union is right here. So he would have taken 35 to 30 and got on 45 and exited here downtown Dallas at the Western Union. But he takes a longer way because he wants to see Dealey Plaza. He wants to know what's going on down there. Some of you may know that Dealey Plaza is where President Kennedy was assassinated. The story is they got off of Love Field, which is north of Dallas. The motorcade came downtown. They were coming from Main Street, turning right on Houston. By the way, this building is the Dallas City Jail, or County Jail, Dallas County Jail. This was a sheriff's office, and this is where Oswald was to be transferred to. So they turned right on Houston, left on Elm when he's assassinated about this area. So let's go down and get a closer look. There we go. This building is the Texas School Book Depository. It's my opinion, just my opinion, and I know a lot of you viewers, subscribers believe otherwise, but it's my personal belief that Lee Harvey Oswald shot President Kennedy from this 6th floor window. As he came down Houston, left on Elm, and he shot him about this area. There should be an X down here. If you visit Dealey Plaza, you'll find an X. It's probably right underneath me. I also like to mention that Abraham Zapruder was standing on this perch, this cement area, embankment or whatever that is, filming the assassination. You may have heard of the Zapruder film. Zapruder worked in this building on the 5th floor. He owned a dress manufacturer called Jennifer Juniors. So about lunchtime, he comes out, climbs up here. This is where the Zapruder film was taken at. Also want to mention, again, we're a famous graves channel. A lady by name of Doris Mumford was standing about here. And she hit the ground when she heard the shots behind her. Behind her. That can be here or it can be the picket fence. She said she heard the shots behind her. We'll make a gravesite visit there as well. Okay, so Texas School Book Depository. Now let's go to the Western Union. There's the X right here. Okay. Okay, Ruby came down this Sunday, wired to $25. This is the Western Union. Now I'll take it down and tell you what happened there. He parks his car across the street, paid parking. He brings his dog with him. His dog's name is Sheba. He takes his time at the Western Union. No hurry, no hurry. Small talks with an elderly lady in line. No hurry. He's not nervous. The money is time-stamped at 11:18 a.m. As he exits this door, he looks left and he sees a crowd around the basement. This is the entrance to the Dallas Police Department basement. He walks, again, leaves this precious dog in the car, walks. This takes about a minute and a half to do. I've measured it. And simply walks down the basement and shoots Lee Harvey Oswald. You may be thinking, why isn't there Dallas police guarding the entrance? There was. Officer Roy Vaughn was guarding this entrance. When Lieutenant Pierce's car exits the basement, Roy Vaughn steps out in the street to stop traffic coming this direction. At that very moment, Jack Ruby walks down the basement, shoots Lee Harvey Oswald at 11:21 a.m. November 22nd, 1963, on a Sunday.
There's the prisoner. There is Lee Oswald. He's been shot. He's been shot. Lee Oswald has been shot. There's the man with a gun. It's absolute panic. Absolute panic here in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters. The detectives have their guns drawn. Oswald has been shot. There is no question about it. Oswald has been shot.
Thanks to a good subscriber, early subscriber, Cheryl. She lives in Michigan. She's a good friend, big supporter of the channel, and I really appreciate it. She lives in Michigan, but had some business in Chicago, so she takes a break and finds Sparky and does a video. That leads to a commercial, I guess. If you have somebody famous in your backyard, maybe go film them or video and send it off to me. It'd mean the world to me. Jack Ruby is convicted of shooting Lee Harvey Oswald. He gets the death penalty, the electric chair. However, the conviction is overturned. So that means that Jack Ruby dies an innocent man on January 3rd, 1967. Squish squash, you can hear my feet because it rained heavily the night before here in the Fort Worth area. This is the final resting place of Lee Harvey Oswald, the accused assassin of President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963.
No, sir, I'm not a communist, and I think that the red herring and so forth is rather ridiculous to toss into this conversation.
Then are you a Marxist?
Well, I have studied Marxist philosophy, yes, sir, and also other philosophers.
But are you a Marxist? I think you did admit on an earlier radio interview that you consider yourself a Marxist.
Well, I would very definitely say that I am a Marxist. That is correct. But that does not mean, however, that I'm a communist.
What is the difference between the two?
Well, there's a great deal of difference. Several American parties in several countries are based on Marxism, such as Ghana, Certain countries have characteristics of a socialist system, such as Great Britain with its socialized medicine. These then are the differences between an outright communist country and countries which adhere to leftist or Marxist principles.
In your work with the Fair Play for Cuba Committee, what are you advocating?
We advocate restoration of diplomatic, trade, and tourist relations with Cuba.
Also, eyewitnesses see him shoot Officer J.D. Tippett in Oak Cliff section of Dallas. On November 10th, actually April 10th, 1963, Oswald takes a shot at General Edwin Walker, who lived on Turtle Creek in Dallas. Right next door, Marguerite Oswald, his mother, is buried in an unmarked grave. Oswald gets many visitors each year. Flowers, beer bottles, I've seen just about everything here. My first trip to this cemetery was about 25 years ago. I was looking for Oswald's grave. They wouldn't give me directions, but they did tell me where B.D. Hayes is buried, knowing that Oswald is close by. B.D. Hayes is just an average bearer, but at that time he was the closest individual buried next to Oswald, or fairly close. Our next stop here at Grove Hill Cemetery is Detective Jim Lavelle. He's interred next to his wife Timey. Both are U.S. Navy veterans. Jim Lavelle is the detective that was handcuffed to Oswald's right-hand side. He's the one that's wearing a light-colored suit during the transfer.
I told him that if anybody shoots at you, I hope they're as good a shot as you are. And he said, oh, nobody's going to shoot at me. The President of the United States was making a visit to Dallas in 1963.
The President's car is now turning onto Elm Street.
We were listening to the dispatcher because he's giving the motorcade's location block by block. My lieutenant said, well, they shot the President. I didn't believe it because I was just listening to him and he was all right. But the dispatcher started carrying on about it, so I realized he's telling me the truth. About that time, the sheriff's department reported an officer being shot in Oak Cliff. As a result, any prisoners that was arrested connected with that was also assigned to me. In fact, one of the first that was brought in was Lee Harvey Oswald. And when I asked him about shooting a police officer, he said, I didn't shoot anybody. He knew we was going to wrap him with a presidential shooting sooner or later, and he wanted to get his denial in. He hadn't shot anybody. On Sunday, the 24th, we were going to transfer Lee Harvey Oswald to Dallas County Jail. We had so many threats called in, they was going to take Oswald away from us and do all sorts of bad things to him. I said, what I'm going to do is just handcuff myself to him. So if they take him, they got to take me, and I'm not going to go willingly. Just as we was getting ready to go down, I told him, and Lee, if anybody shoots at you, I hope he's as good a shot as you are. He kind of laughed, and he said, oh, nobody's going to shoot at me. As we walked into the basement, I saw Jack Ruby. He was standing in the crowd of reporters and police officers. He had the pistol in his left hand pressed against his leg. I was able to reach across and catch him by the shoulder because I had jerked on Oswald trying to pull him behind me, and I was pulling him toward me. He switched the gun over to his right hand and pulled the trigger.
He's been shot. He's been shot. Lee Oswald has been shot. There's a man with a gun.
Just a side note, if you'll allow me, Jim and I were personal friends. I ended up becoming his insurance agent as well. His son Jimmy lived in Henderson, Nevada, right next to Las Vegas. Many times he would come and visit. He'd drop by my office for coffee. Jim was a real people person. He enjoyed meeting people and telling his story. A lot of my policyholders got a big kick out of meeting somebody attached to history. Jim and Timey are both sorely missed. Those of us who study the JFK assassination, and when we get to the point where we want to reach out and touch those who were involved in one way or another in the assassination, I think Jim Lavelle was the easiest to approach. Many times when I'm visiting his house here in Dallas, We would walk to the mailbox. He would have autograph requests from all over the world. Time he was a nurse in the United States Navy, Jim Lavelle was injured. That's how they met. Also want to mention that Jim Lavelle was in Pearl Harbor when it was attacked, and that was also on a Sunday. Now we're at L.C. Graves. He was the detective that was on the other side of Oswald during the jail transfer. They were moving him from the city jail uptown to the county jail. Ironically, it's at Dealey Plaza. L.C. Graves is the detective seen here wrestling the gun out of Jack Ruby's hand.
5½ hours ago, a shot echoed through these halls, and one of the men closest to the point where the shot was fired is this man. He is a detective, Detective L.C. Graves. Could you tell us what happened and what you were doing at the time?
Well, about 11:15 this morning, in an attempt to transfer Oswald to the county jail, we got as far as the basement of the city hall, and a man lunged out of the crowd and fired one shot into his stomach.
Now, what were you doing? Were you escorting him?
Yes, I was helping to escort him at that time.
Were you holding on to his arm?
Yes, I had a hold of his left arm.
Now, there was another detective. He was handcuffed to Oswald?
Yes, Detective Lavelle was handcuffed to him with his left arm to Oswald's right arm.
When the man came out of the crowd and the shot was fired, what did you do?
Well, I grabbed his arm and took the pistol away from him.
Were there any screams?
I didn't hear any screams at that time.
The man, did he appear so quickly that preventive action could not have been taken?
Yes, he did. He was only a few feet. We were only a few feet from the newsmen that were right in front of us, and it was quite a large line of them, and he just lunged out of the line of men right into us.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, we're at Laurel Land Cemetery. This is just south of Dallas. In this memorial park, there's 4 or 5 famous graves. You can check my channel out for the other locations, but today we're here at the final resting place of Doris Mumford. She lived from June the 27th or 22nd until June the 19th, 2008. And this is our lucky day because today we have somebody with us. This is the daughter of Doris Mumford. What's your first name?
My name is Karen.
Okay. Can you kind of tell us where your mother was? She was down at Dealey Plaza, and I'll put a picture up about right here. And she's the one in the sunglasses.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes.
And what was her occasion for being down there?
Well, my family was a huge Kennedy supporter, and mother worked at Avis Rent-A-Car, which was just right under the thoroughfare there before Dealey Plaza area, and she knew that John Kennedy was coming in for the motorcade and walked from Avis Rent-A-Car up to Dealey Plaza and was standing by the Newman family, which...
The Newmans were the ones who had the 2 little kids.
Yes.
They're Dealey Plaza, and I'll put that picture up right now. This is the Newmans. So your mother was one of the closest witnesses to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She saw the motorcade go just about right in front of her, and as she told me that she heard 3 shots. They came from behind her, and she saw the life leave the president's face.
So she's standing at the grassy knoll area.
Yes, right by the pole there by the Newman family.
Okay. So to her right would be the picket fence.
Yes.
And to her left would be the Texas School Book Depository. Did she clarify where she thought the shots came?
All that she had said was they came from behind her, but you know, she was standing looking toward the motorcade, and then she fell after the shots came back to kind of her left and went to the ground. So what she exactly heard where they were coming from, because she was moving around there, but she said from behind her is what she felt.
Okay, and where were you at this time?
At this time I was in the hospital.
You were in the hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
And she was coming to get me that afternoon, actually.
Okay.
And was delayed a bit because she had to walk back to her office, and she did pretty much immediately. I think there's a picture of her actually walking on the curb back. I've seen in one picture. And I talked to her boss's son years later, and he said that she was in shock in the office and explained what she had seen to them, which I did not ever talk directly to.
What was the
her
first
boss.
words she said to you when, I understand that she picked you up a little bit later?
Yeah, it was a very quiet time.
Did she tell you what she just saw?
It was a ways down. She was asking how I was and so forth.
Okay.
And, she was being a mother.
Okay.
But we talked as we were going home, and I asked her what happened, and that's when she told me she heard the 3 shots.
Okay, now I call her the sunglass lady. Do you know where the sunglasses are today?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'd like
it
to
was
know.
a long time ago. I wish I would have saved it, but at the time, you don't even,
What effect has it had on her life? Do you know?
I never knew her to talk very much about the situation. She never came forward as a witness. But she had just lost my father 3 years ago.
Okay.
Okay,
what is he interned here?
Yes. William,
Okay, what's his name?
William Archie Couch Jr.
Okay. Okay, this is your biological father?
Yes.
Okay, so then
Years later.
this explains why her name's Doris Couch,
Yes.
and she remarried to Brian Mumford.
Yes.
Okay. Your lives gave all a garden of good memories. Well, we'll be sure to give her respect, honor, and plenty of love. Thanks for meeting up with me today.
My pleasure. I
Your
appreciate
mom's part of history, so that makes you part of it too.
Well, and the focus is not on me. I just want her to be known and her name known for her involvement in being a witness, one of the closest witnesses to the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.
This empty field is the location of the old Parkland Hospital. These 4 trees represent the exact pinpointed location where Trauma Room 1 was, where Parkland doctors desperately tried to save President Kennedy's life. Close by is a new Parkland Hospital. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Everybody should be remembered.